fired up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a little gasoline before I get up off here. I don't know. I just like doing that sometimes, but
You had
that's few and far in between.
you posted a reel. It was just it was perfect. It's like, this is what you do when you see somebody just going completely off the cuff, huh? And you just keep scrolling. It's as simple as that.
It's simple. If I don't want to see it, like I don't
Yeah.
have to keep watching it and being outraged and things like that. I can be upset about it. I can not like it. But beyond that, I'm not gonna dwell in it.
Yeah. So Isaiah Keys, thank you for coming back in, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again.
So
Appreciate you.
this episode we kind of started talking about it was thrown together because as I go through my Facebook feeds, I see nothing but people tearing each other's heads off about politics, and then there was a light in the darkness. Out of all these 5-paragraph like manic like rants, I see who wants to shoot a music video today. Yeah, somebody's actually
Yes. Can we do something else?
Yes.
It's a beautiful day out here. Let's enjoy it.
And so the last time you came in here, you were on kind of a hiatus, and you kind of just when did you like decide like, here we go, like, because you're in the full swing of things now?
So even in my hiatus, it was never really like one where it's like, oh, I'm just taking a complete break. I'm not doing anything. I was still working on music every day. I was still shooting videos and things like that for other artists. And I was game planning for myself, right? It was really just an understanding, like, okay, where I was at, I'm stretching myself thin. I'm trying to juggle too much.
Yeah.
Let me, instead of just like trying to keep robbing Peter to pay Paul, let me just go ahead and take a breather. And personally, my daughter, she started basketball.
Okay.
And this is her first year playing, and I've been waiting for this since she was born. You know what I mean? So it was like, yeah, I'm coaching. The whole.
I was about to say, are you coaching?
Yeah,
too?
man. So it was really a living,
Yeah.
and having experiences that then spark new art, right? So that's really what it was.
As, we had Kelson for the last interview, and she was saying the same thing with her. And I think she was, as soon as she was done with the interview, she was going to you because you guys were going to do some work.
Absolutely. Shout out to Kels, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some stuff coming, and we've been cooking.
That's awesome.
Been cooking, yeah, for sure.
That's awesome that how she used her following and the platform that she had to just jump into a new industry and just thrive in it. It's so awesome.
And she's made it look a lot easier than it is, and that's how you know you've done it right.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it looks easy, so that's why it inspires a lot of people to try it too. And it's important that, like, when you get on these platforms, like, she has in different times, even with me personally, like, explaining like the process wasn't as easy as it like looked. It took some losses, some grit. You know what I mean? You learn some determination, so you keep pushing through that. But then when you have that breakthrough and it hits, it hits. You know? So yeah, man, it's work. It's work to master anything.
And the sort of hiatus is nice because if somebody is in that thought process of like, I just have to keep creating and putting stuff out, you don't really get that little bit of downtime to categorize everything and kind of come up with a song that kind of like uses everything, like using your experiences in like a certain time.
Absolutely.
Other than just like a new week, new song. Yeah.
Absolutely. As an independent artist, especially if you're doing everything like the right way, it's costly, one, and two, you don't want to waste your art. And I had to think about that. I was in a place where I was dropping music, like releasing a bunch of music, and I didn't have the audience. So like a lot of that music just fell on deaf ears.
Yeah.
So that's one of my things that I'm trying to get better at, is promoting old music as well as I'm doing new things, because sometimes it might take a couple years, but it could happen. Like a song that you least expect, and something happens in it, and it just boom, and it takes off, right? So you never want to short your art and things like that. But
yeah, I mean, like we said last time you hear it, all it takes is 10 seconds of a song to hit TikTok, and then that is like a platinum album right there for some people if you get it viral enough.
Absolutely. And that's fewer and farther in between. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen for most, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
And the most stable way, right? Like honestly, what scares me more than anything is that, right? Having like something just randomly boom and just shoot me from this level to the roof, right? Because
Yeah.
I I think artist development or the lack thereof is a critically missing piece to the industry right now.
Yeah.
That's why you have a lot of rappers crashing out, right? Like that's why you have a lot of people saying the wrong thing getting canceled. A lot of these people haven't been trained. They haven't developed
Yeah.
no hate. I love the Ball family. LeVar, I love
Oh
LeVar
yeah, yeah.
Ball. I love that family. I love seeing that. I don't know why you get so much hate. I love seeing it. But with Jello, right? He has this smash song that takes off
Yes.
through the roof, right? But then everybody sees him perform at the halftime, right, of the football game, and everybody's making fun of how like dull he looks and oh he's born. He hasn't
He hasn't.
developed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That comes with time. That comes with hitting these little shows and these little gigs and
Yeah.
small crowds. All that's what comes with that. But me personally, I want to develop. I want to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I love the process.
Yeah, because I mean, you've seen the situations too, where like an artist is thrown into the top echelon, and you see like spending, and like all of a sudden you have every wish that you could ever ask for, and then I mean, you see what happens.
It's dangerous, man.
It is.
It's a dangerous drug. Fame too soon.
And then you get up to that top echelon too, and it's like you haven't made the connections with the people on the business side. So it's just like you have all these new people saying, I can do this for you, I can do this for you, and you don't really have any foundations. You're going to have to kind of like
100%.
trust this first person that kind of comes up to you.
And that's how a lot of artists get screwed over. They're trusting a lot of people that they don't know. They didn't have a team built. They had a team built around them by the label, not themselves with people they trusted. And that's important too, and building the right team. It's rare that like it just comes together, all these people believing in you all at one time and jumping on board. No,
Figuring out.
usually, it's you working, doing things, and it attracts this person that's just right for you, and you guys connect, and then it keeps going, and then that's how it usually organically happens. But the labels can put a team around you too. It's up to what you want.
Or find out the missing piece. It's like, oh, I see your team, you don't have a marketing guy. So here's this person that's probably feeding them back information as they're, you're telling them stuff. And
Yep.
it's nice though that I would say like, maybe like 10 years ago, maybe a little bit before that, you kind of started getting technology catching up so people could record their own music where you're not sent out to a studio. And it seems like I'd have to guess maybe like the last like 5 years, the video production and the marketing stuff has kind of caught up to musicians too, where you see like all the content like you're putting out is like this professional thing. Whereas like 10 plus years ago, they'd be like, you have to go to one of our people that is training that. And
It's much more freelance for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely have it in all different areas of the industry. Because the music business is such a a wide range of different things.
Yeah.
It's not just artists. Like there's so many levels to it. And you got like part of where I got the idea from for starting to shoot videos with my iPhone was a commercial that I saw for the iPhone, and then there's a young videographer that's really prominent in the game now, and he was shooting videos like off his iPhone. I'm like, I mean, truth be told, nobody really thinks about it, but that's why those phones are so expensive. The specs on them are just as good as the average camera that a videographer, at least at my level, is using. So at that point, then it's about just creativity and learning your software, which the playing field's even at that point.
Yeah. And
Right?
then and all the apps and stuff to edit those videos come compatible with the iPhone. Everything's in the MOV files.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
And what's nice is AirDrop.
Because
I mean,
it's
like,
a life saving thing. If you got the Apple products, it's a life saving thing, man.
I remember
Saves so much time.
the first episode we recorded of this, we had multicams, and I airdropped the video I had from my phone to the computer just a couple minutes. And I remember Scott said, "Okay, I'll Dropbox you," and it wasn't until 6 hours later I'm finally getting the file. I'm like,
man.
how is it the disparity so vast between like an airdrop and just a send? But yeah, I finally found out the limitations of an iPhone though this past summer. My co-host Silk, brought me to a flag football tournament in Pittsburgh, and I was just filming for them, and I had an iPhone on a gimbal trying to get like zoomed in interceptions, and it just was not happening. I was finally like, I'm gonna invest in something.
That's the one
Finally found
thing,
it, yeah.
like the zoom specs and things like that aren't as clear. That's where the separation really comes from, what you pay for with the professional camera versus that. But yeah, I try to avoid that when when I'm shooting or filming anything.
And I had it on a gimbal, and I was like trying to get this play, and the gimbal wasn't turning the way I wanted it to, and it was just, I said, that's what made me get this new camera.
Yeah.
Then the first thing I thought was I have to get a hold of Isaiah, show him what camera I got, so we can get on with this tiny desk.
It's nice too. Yeah, looking forward to that, man. I think that's gonna be a really cool thing that comes together for sure.
We have the video tech, we have the audio tech. We might as well just do it. And
that's where I'm at with it. Like that's where that post came from that day. Like I personally didn't have any objectives for myself and my stuff going on there. I pretty much got most of my things ready for my like first like official like release and things like that. So that's why I was like, hey man, it's a beautiful day. Like who wants to like work? Let's do something. But for me, that's been my biggest challenge is equipment, things of that nature, and I've had to learn how to honestly rig certain things together to make it work with what I got. And shout out to my father-in-law. I got that from him, man. That guy will rig anything together. He's a magician. When it comes to that, he'll fix anything with whatever he's got. And it's just working for him with his business for so long, it kind of like taught me that mindset, like use what you got. You know what I mean? If you can go get the better thing or the new thing, absolutely do that. But if you ain't got it, do what you use what you got.
That was one of my biggest frustrations when I started this, is because I went to school for audio, but for video I had no idea any of the technology. And when you ask somebody for help, like what should I do, sometimes you get answers is, well, if you don't have this stuff, then you can't do it. And then that immediately is like, watch me. I will.
Don't tell me that. That's the biggest. Don't say that.
It's just, oh, you don't have these cameras, then there's no way. And like all these top podcasts have this. I'm like, well,
you can't. For me, I'll never underestimate anybody's creative ability, man. I mean, people invent new things every day. Stuff that before that everybody's like, no way, conceptually. Until somebody does it. And then it changes the way the rest of the people think about it, right? So that's how my mind works. Like, I don't doubt anybody. You say you're gonna do it, hey, I believe you.
And, I mean, see it. And technology, it just moves faster and faster and faster. So like for everybody to keep up with it, I mean, to say like you don't have this piece of gear, you can't do it. It's just I don't have a gimbal, but I'll just make my hand steady. We'll figure this out.
That's what it is. Everything. I mean, honestly, everything I shoot my videos with individually, besides the phone, individually cost me no more than $20. I didn't pay for the most expensive stuff because I understand angles. I understand certain movements, things of that nature. So, and I have a pretty steady hand myself. So I can suffice with that. But not everybody can do that. So sometimes, like I'm not to encourage anybody or discourage anybody from, work in upgrading your equipment and things like that. But just don't be discouraged if you don't or you can't. So make what you got, make it work. You can.
Do you have some junk in your trunk? Do you have some junk in your basement? Do you have some junk in your garage? Well, we're proud to announce that there is a new company to the Ohio Valley offering a special discount for our listeners that can handle that problem for you. Rhino Dumpsters and Services. They're based out of Martins Ferry, Ohio, and provide affordable and reliable dumpster rentals for all your needs in the Ohio Valley. Dumpster size is 15 cubic yards, and they can be used for residential or job site cleanups. You fill it, they haul it. Perfect for home renovations and house cleanouts. And as a special bonus for all 10 String Tavern listeners, you can call and get 10% off this month, February, and next month of March. Call or text them today to schedule your rental at 740-827-6533 or 740-391-0582. Check them out at Rhino Dumpsters and Services LLC on Facebook.
So with Hotbox, this new one coming out. So explain a little bit about this to our viewers. I saw a little bit of the first videos you were putting out.
Yeah, man. Honestly, that was something that was kind of a random thought process. But again, my mindset, we have all these like really big platforms that us up and coming artists aspire to be on, like on the radar and on the block performance, like aspire. They know because if you get on those platforms, it can make a huge difference for you. You know what I mean? Like sometimes overnight, right? And so my mindset is, I might not have gotten an invitation. I got on their radar yet, but shoot, I'm not gonna just sit and complain. I'm gonna make my own. Like, why can't I make my own type of platform for that? And so, I have a room that, let's just say, where I can consume my cannabis,
Right.
Medicinal cannabis, right? And it's a really big, like, huge closet room, and so it's very comfortable. You can sit multiple people in there, type of thing. And so that's where I would record things like that, because it's a place where I can kind of keep it, quiet and not wake my family up and things like that when I'm recording and stuff. And I'm like, man, like, why don't I do something cool with this room, because I already had the little LED lights and stuff for the vibe and things like that. And I was thinking about it, it's like Hotbox, like, that was literally the first little like name that came to me, because that concept. And I'm like, okay, let me just see what I can do with this. And like I said, working with what I got, I had for lighting, I have this LED like work light, like workers light, like for construction light. Is it really bright there? So like to muffle it, I had I got paper towels and folded them to make it like thicker and taped it over top of it, so it kind of gives that proper lighting look there to it. And I was like, oh man, that worked. But that's what it just used, literally, because I was just bored. I was like, let me see what I could do there. And I came up with that, and I was like, man, this is really dope. And I have it set up. The vocals are live, everything like that. And the goal is to, build it up, get a kind of format for it, and then have other artists on the platform. Shout out to I'm not gonna say who yet, because he doesn't want to release that info yet. But I just had. One of my close friends, who is an artist as well, just hopped on the platform and filmed a visual on there. So it's just something that I thought of, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect because, like, whoever's involved in those bigger platforms, they're looking and they see that, they're going to be like, okay, where is this? This is happening in Wheeling. Who's producing this?
Right.
Yeah, it's really eye catchy the way you have it set up. It's really nice.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna actually invest. I've ordered like this neon custom sign. I have a
nice.
The latest one that I just released. That's the logo for it and everything like that. I made the logo myself with a $5.99 a month app. Like on my phone. You don't need much, man.
No, you don't.
You don't need much. That's one thing that I pride myself on is I don't need much. I haven't had much to make, besides the support of some really caring people that have looked out for me in the sense of like guidance and making sure I'm making the right moves and things like that.
Yeah.
Other than I haven't had very much, like, you know what I mean? And I made a lot out of it. So imagine what's gonna happen when I have a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the story that I'm pitching to people, like, to garner that support. Like, I really want to do this for the Valley. I really want to do this like our way. I'm not gonna change for nobody. Like, how you see me today is the same way you're gonna see me, but more wiser, more smarter, and more passionate.
Yeah.
No matter how far down the line. So I really want to do that and open up doors for other artists. Like, I'm no spring chicken, man. This ain't about me. It's about really like trying to put on and make a difference. That's what my life is dedicated to. So if it's on this lower level here and it's just around the Valley, or if it's on the main stage and it's national or global, I'm gonna maximize my ability to make an impact on people while I got the time here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And with I was gonna say with the technology, I mean, it doesn't matter like what like what tier of like technology you have the knowledge of it. You're an artist. You've been a consumer of this art for your whole life, so you know like what to look for. What as a consumer you would look for if you were looking at these videos, and you can kind of put that all into when you're creating. It's nice when you have artists on the production side too, because it's almost like when we were shooting ideas with each other, so they're clicking like automatic.
It's natural.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful like processing experience. That's one thing that because of technology, that's one of the downsides is you don't get a lot of people that connect in person anymore to create because of the technological abilities that we have. But like a lot of the best and most purest art, man, comes from like people like artists just getting in the room, locking in, and just creating without restriction. Just be freely creating and seeing what you come up with. So for me, that's what I like to. I want to try to get back to more. You know, when I work with people, it's in person. I don't like doing it over the send back. Like come to my house. I'll come to your house. Whatever we gotta do. If we're in close proximity,
right,
you know?
right.
But other than that, like I just love art in general, bro.
Yeah.
So create. Everybody, anybody.
And your formats or like just like the overall template you use, it's what is needed to get an artist like seen. I'd say this all the time. There's so many artists in this Ohio Valley that if they had proper like social media management and like they're marketing the right way, they could just blow up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating when you like every once in a while you'll see an artist from here be like, I'm digging in. I'm going to give 100% from now on, and then nothing. You would think like if you're giving 100%, you should be seeing you more of that, and it's out there, and it's so easy to do. But
I think a lot of people initially don't understand how much goes into it. Again, that goes to the credit of the ones that made it look easy, because people don't see the hard work, right? They see the results a lot of the times, and so. For me, like it's one of those things. Like a friend of mine, like who not boastfully speaking, but like basically said I inspired him to try to like shoot videos and things, and he got started with it. And I remember we was on the phone I was talking about a certain like way that you do this edit that he was trying to figure out, and he was like, "Man, this takes a lot. Man, this takes so many hours, dog. It's so long." I said, "Yeah, man, there's a lot to this," but people that never actually try to do it themselves, they don't understand that. So like all they see is that. So then people get inspired to do it, but I don't think that they're ready for what all comes with it.
Yeah.
And then when they're awakened by that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, they shy away from it because that's not what they really want.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do music just a hobby, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Right. Right. It's like the flip side too, because sometimes I think like somebody will watch, say, like the way you'd be editing or watching the way that I would be editing the show, and we might make it look easier because we've had so much time to figure out the shortcuts. And like to produce one of these episodes when I first started, it took me all week. I looked at my wife, I'm like, there's no way I can do this. This is not sustainable. I had a desk in the living room. My daughters were watching TV, and I was just frantically like trying to put together clips. But now I can airdrop to my phone. I can ask my wife, hey, do you mind driving to the mall today? So I can sit in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
I'll just edit up on my phone, but I couldn't have done that if it didn't take weeks and weeks of like figuring out like, oh, Apple plus B is the split key, and like you figure out all that. So I think sometimes they see what we're doing, they think, oh, this is easy. They get into it and they're like, what?
Right.
Yeah, what is all this?
It's the 10,000 hour rule, right? It's 10,000 hours in math or something, and you see people that they'll go to I don't know, they'll go to some cell phone little like stand in the mall, right?
Yeah.
And they'll need their phone screen fixed, and they'll say, oh, boom, 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 here. They'll fix it in like 10-15 minutes, and it looked easy to those people, and they charge a certain amount. Like, whoa, why does it cost that much? And it only took you 10-15 minutes. Well, that's because of the time and money that I spent to get this good and this fast. Like, I'm not charging you for like the time. I'm charging you for my experience and what I've invested into doing this. So where it makes sense, I've mastered this. That's what you're paying for. Masterful work done quickly. That's convenient and done right. You can go get stuff that's convenient, that's not really done right.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go get stuff that's done right, but it takes really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you both. So
Yeah.
like I hope people understand their worth in that position and don't cave because of that. Understand your worth and go get it because you put that work in. You deserve that.
Yeah.
Whether they think so or not.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any plans for any live performances so far? Are you just doing like the recording thing right now, or?
Yeah, that's for the most part. I gotta meet with Dan and Rachel
Okay.
down at the waterfront. I am gonna bring those back.
Oh, nice.
As
Okay.
well. So for that again, that was a trial and error thing. It was done. It was nice, but not that I got too in over my. I had to learn. I had to like figure out this game. Like, okay, I can afford to lose a bunch of money trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Right. So like, not that I lost a bunch of money, but it really wasn't about profiting off of people. So I didn't
Right.
make a bunch of money doing that at all.
Yeah.
And so like, it's like I got to figure out a format that works. I gotta like, okay, see if I can bring anybody in, like as far as team, like juggle some of this with me because I'm only one person, and
Yeah.
it was starting to become a thing that was like too much added on to what I was doing to do it that frequently.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
just kind of happened at the same time where I was like, like I'm robbing Peter, Big Paul to make all this stuff happen. I'm frantic, trying to keep this going, and I want to coach my daughter really bad, right?
Yeah.
And be there for her for that. Let me just go ahead and take a breather from
Yeah.
this.
I mean, plus you're adding, in addition to the production aspect, it's a competition too. So you're adding that. So I could imagine some of the texts you're getting when you're trying to figure out just how to throw the show,
Right.
just in general. Now you're hitting hit with what about this role? What about this role? What about this role? And
It's a lot, man, and people don't quite care enough about what people put into things just to try to like entertain them, just to try to like get something going around here.
Yeah.
And it's not to their fault, honestly. I think it's because one, like we were talking about earlier, COVID just kind of like took that
it
out
was
of
the weirdest
everybody.
transition.
Yeah, it just took that out of everybody, man. And so with the artist, for me, I know I can go do all these things. I've have a manager that's got me access to these different things, these different stages, and I've made an impact on those stages with certain people we were trying to connect with and get their attention. We kind of went that first run. We took some L's. We learned behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We learned. We had to regroup. Now we have an understanding more of how to attack this, right? How to go about this in a more effective way.
Yeah.
And so for me, performances and things of that nature, they're like advertisements. That's what a show
yeah.
or showcase is when you perform at it. It's like
Yeah.
your advertisement. So, those get costly, and I've done that.
Yeah.
But I think with content, you're doing the same advertising of yourself, but I can do that so much easier on my phone, so much cheaper on my phone,
Yeah.
or with my phone and with content, and be just as impactful, if not more.
Yeah.
So do that, focus on that, let the shows and things of that nature come organically.
Yeah. And with starting out something like this, you have your expectations in your head. You finally, you get it running. Now, when you're looking back, you can finally see what it looks like from the fans, from the concert goers' perspective, and now you can kind of adjust and make your adjustments and figure out what you want to bring back to the new one and what you can kind of leave behind. And
Yeah, man, that's what this, again, it's a process. It's when you're doing this independently, like everybody says they want to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially rappers. When you're doing this independently, you're gonna take losses, man. You're gonna take hard lessons. You're going to, excuse my French, you're gonna throw crap on the wall and see what sticks at first.
Yeah.
But then as you do that, you start to figure out a strategy and a game plan. You figure out what works, what doesn't work. And as you go over that, if you're using and reviewing the data appropriately, you start to figure out a strategy for yourself. And that's much more effective. That's much more like fine-tuned. and you just hit that hard, stay consistent with that, and I believe that that'll be what makes the difference for me. And then once I do a show somewhere, I actually have a following that cares to see about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when I post about it and things like that. So that's the goal is connect with people genuinely in different ways through social media and content and showing them myself through that.
Yeah.
And then they'll be interested in what I do beyond social media.
Yeah. Just it's with the groups that are set up in this area to be able to make content and just immediately share it. And I know like the owners of those groups they're open to it. You know, they're encouraging to that. But like the what's happening in Wheelings, the what's happening in Steubenville. You know, you make a video, post that, and you can just watch your interactions just soar from it.
Yep.
And it's really cool that it's a Dean Barath that owns Ideal Provisions. It's real cool how he set that up, and it's kind of like a little public forum sometimes when you get into it, but like for advertisers and like musicians and stuff. And it's weird that not weird, but it's interesting how I was telling Kels, it's like the people in real estate have become like the biggest content creators in our area. It's so weird because you don't need to buy the benches, you don't need to buy the billboards. I think she just put out one where it was like a pre-Super Bowl video. She had a Super Bowl theme. She was catching a football and talking about a house. That's what gets people.
It's much more cost efficient.
Yeah,
man. you can literally pull out your phone and get an idea, film it real quick in 15, 20 seconds. Take 15 minutes maybe, add a couple cool effects, put captions on it. And most of the stuff is automated now with AI and stuff like that.
So I got autocorrect in case they just get something wrong. That's all it has.
And boom, and you got it. And so our area is honestly behind. Everybody else is using social media.
Yeah.
If you go to any major city or, you know, the outskirts of said major city, you see it a lot more prevalently, but like they're using social media to its fullest. Like people are really like building their businesses through social media. That's why people are freaking out from TikTok, like potentially being banned, right? Because their entire business was scaled through advertising through social media and a specific social media platform. Yeah. So it's become a more serious thing than just kids just dancing and then the older generations used to say about it. It's something that people are really using as a tool.
There's the day in the life videos. Those are like one of the most popular ones. Just join 100%. Me as I do like this day in like whatever industry it is. It takes them through, and
that's it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people were looking at the TikTok thing thinking that it was just TikTok paying out, but like you're reaching out to local sponsors through that. I mean, you're doing so much local business through that.
Yep. And, it was powerful, man. It was, and that's the good side of the technology is that you can reach so many people so quickly. That's why like my focus is going in that direction instead of more like shows and performances necessarily, because okay, I can be in front of a crowd of 500 and do that once, or twice a month. Yeah. Or I can be in front of 1,000 every day for 30 days straight.
Yeah. You can do the big show, kind of scratch that itch, kind of get the adrenaline going, but then
it's good to do that. That's part of it. But like nowadays, the large scaling for artists, like the way artists are scaling their businesses, because this is what it is, a business. Yeah, is through social media. And so, even though I can't stand it, it's too late. It's such a pivotal part of the industry now. I gotta learn it. I gotta utilize it, or I'm gonna fall behind. So I had to figure out my lane. Like, what do I want my presence, my brand to be, what my artistry to be viewed as, and I figured that out, and then that's how I'm attacking it. In real life, I'm a deep individual, a deep thinker, a lover of people, a super funny guy, but I'm about that too. Yeah, I'm all of that in one. And so just showing that, Like, it's not about that in the street. I'm talking about I ain't no like I'm not afraid of not like
Right.
at the end of the day, especially with my beliefs. I don't fear death in a sense. The
Right.
only thing that I selfishly don't like about the idea of death is having to leave my family.
That's
temporarily.
yeah.
That's it. But other than that, that has no hold over me in any way. So
With me, it was that weird switch that flips when you get that.
Yeah,
That when
man.
you get that kid, you're like, man, you. It's surprising how little you care about a lot of stuff.
Man, dude, kids, brother, they're the most precious thing in this world, man. That my daughter really forced me to grow up.
Yeah.
Like that was okay. I had to grow up, and I didn't realize I wasn't grown up.
Right, yeah, you don't really-
like,
yeah.
Man, I'm really, man. I thought I was mom. I'm calling for my mom. Help me. I like, man, but it's really made me learn about a lot about myself.
Yeah.
Seeing it in a little me, and so I'm good and bad.
Yeah.
And so
I remember just one day thinking to myself, like, man, there's so much things I cared about like a year ago that it just does not matter anymore. Like when you're looking at your family, it just,
man, one of the biggest things for me, I don't care what people think.
yeah.
I like beyond the aspect of having to brand myself and gain fans. Like personally, it's too many people in this world to care what people think. There's enough that will love you as you are,
Yeah.
and you just gotta find those people. And so my daughter, man, like that's my wife and my daughter. If they cool with me, I don't care who ain't. Like besides that, like honestly, like I want to get along with everybody. I want to have as many positive relationships and bonds as I can. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be a slave to one either. If it ain't for me, best peace to you.
Right.
I'm gonna go this way. You do that there.
And it's weird too. It's like you'll come across other guys where like they have kids, but you can tell that switch didn't flip, and it's almost like this biological thing that you can kind of get that vibe from them. But
Perspective.
yeah,
It's the driving force between what makes people take the different paths in life that they take. Some people see something and it drives them to be a certain way, and some people can see that same thing and it drives them in the opposite direction. Makes them want to be exactly like it or nothing like it at all.
Yeah.
So some people like us, we that was something we valued. Some other people, that's not something they value, maybe because they didn't have it,
right.
or whatever reason. But I feel bad for those people, man, because they're missing out. Dude.
Yeah, they
They're
really
missing out.
are. Have you brought your daughter to any concerts yet? Has she gotten the concert bug? My 4-year-old's going to Kelsey Ballerini on Friday with her mom. So.
Yeah, she's seen a few different events and shows and things like that. More of the festival stuff, especially like locally. She's been at a few of those events, and then I did a Christmas event with the Arts and Cultural Commission. It was a Christmas event, and she was able to go there and see me perform.
That's
there.
awesome.
So that was cool. She loves it, man. She's a music head. That's one of the main reasons why I got into it.
Yeah.
Like that little girl, like, it's funny. She's like me. Like randomly will just be singing with nothing playing except the song in your head. And like it's nothing. It's just I don't know, something that we enjoy and share in that manner. So.
My wife and I will do that sometimes. Layla will go and just start singing randomly in the other room, and my wife might look and be like, quiet, did you hear that? Or in there, if you're quiet, listen to the whole performance.
I'm telling you, let them go, man. They got that music bug, man. I don't know what it's for. And, she's a little shy, but she does like to sing. And I'm not gonna push that on her, obviously. But essentially, if she wanted to do that, because I've always known that could be a possibility since she's a baby, she's been making noise and singing.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to understand it. Like I want to be able to be in their corner. I can't stand those stories of like parents that were unequipped to be able to protect their child because they knew nothing. They didn't educate themselves. You know what I mean? And had to trust other people. And that's nah, man, won't happen to mine.
Oh, yeah, that sickening feeling when I watched that. What's it called?
There's a few of
with
them,
Nickelodeon. The one with Drake Bell was definitely the.
Dude.
Because he was saying like the dad didn't know anything that was going on and was just trying to pull him out the whole time. Yeah,
but they'll use if the parents are both in the kid's life and they're not unified, behind that kid as it's going into that business, they will find the weak link.
Yeah.
And they will sweeten their pockets and utilize them to push the one that really cares away. And
Yeah.
that's not all labels are all, but if they feel like they can get away with it, they will. It's a dirty
Yeah.
game. That's no secret at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point.
And definitely the victims of it are the people that don't have anybody in their corner, that don't have any knowledge, that aren't looking out for like the key things that they might have picked up, during their career. And
even beyond, even outside of that, right? Like even on a lesser note, like on the business side, that they get over on these young kids or these people that have like they don't know how the business works, and they prey on that and they get them in these nasty contracts.
yeah.
Like it's a predatory game. Like if you aren't prepared and you don't know what you're getting yourself into, it'll chew you out and eat you out, or eat you and spit you out. Like that's how this industry is, and it's never gonna change.
Yeah.
If one gatekeeper is in the way and they get removed, another one will step in its place. It's just like the streets.
Yeah, it's super easy too, because when you do have somebody that finally starts to make it, and you give them an offer that's like more than anything they could ever wish for.
Right.
2 years of them growing as an artist, they could look around and be like, wow, I'm getting screwed right now. Like they look at their peers and how much money they're making and what they're doing, be like, they're
It's
looking
too late
back
by
at it.
then. Now they're trying to get lawyers, and it's ugly, and some of their careers don't bounce back from those battles.
And to think that some people battle for their own songs back, their own creation, their own art.
And I feel bad for a lot of those older artists, for sure, because they didn't, at that time, information wasn't freely accessible. It was, word of mouth, like somebody had to bring you into it. Like, unless you were one of those people who were raised by parents that like were like, equipped you, like book smart wise, how to fight those battles.
Yeah.
Then you're not gonna know what to do. But today, there's no reason. There's no excuse to sign a bad deal.
Yeah.
If you signed a bad deal, it was because you have no patience, you have no self-restraint, and you just jumped into something, and probably into pressure, because they've done it. You hear it, artists will say it, well, if you walk out that door, we'll give it to the next artist. The way I feel, okay, fine. That's not going to be the last record contract.
Yeah.
Like if you feel like that's no hard feelings. Like
if there's somebody else coming in,
somebody else.
If there's somebody coming through the door after me, then I can go somewhere out after somebody else somewhere else.
100%. And there's a reason why you even got me here.
Yeah.
If you saw it, somebody else gonna see it too.
And it can happen to really anybody, because I remember listening to a story of I think Mariah Carey did a Christmas album, and they settled for something. I mean, it was a couple million sell for some love, but she might have sold like 80 million copies, but she got that base pay they got her.
It's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game. And at this point, it's like the artist doesn't have an excuse. There's too much information out there.
Too many documentaries.
There's too many people.
People screaming, "Don't sign!"
Yeah, there's too many people that are pointing artists freely in the right direction, and there's people that you might have to pay for a course or things of that nature. But if you're really serious about it, you'll do it because you want to learn how this business works.
Yeah,
you got to educate yourself if you're gonna get into it. And I want to see more artists do that for themselves instead of like. And there's nothing wrong with getting a record deal, but be smart enough when you go into that negotiation.
I was about to say about
that you get a deal that's good for you, and not one that is actually going to leave you in a worse position. In a couple years. Right?
Yeah, it seems like some people just want to say they're signed to their label, and I think more and more artists are kind of catching on to like what's that doing for you at this point.
Right. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with getting a deal. Like going the deal route. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just be smart enough to be able to negotiate the right deal. Yeah. And not just take what they give you because they pressure you into that. If you don't take this now, then we're taking it back and it's over. Yeah. Call their bluff, man. At the end of the day, because you see something, you call me in here, you want me, and to like you see something where you can make money, and if
Yeah.
you see something you can make money, then I can make money off myself.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just keep going and doing what I'm doing. That got me to the place where you wanted me to come in here and sit with you.
And if I'm making a mistake by walking out, there's
I
plenty
can
other
live with
sharks that are probably
Nah,
trying to take advantage of
I
me.
can live with that.
Yeah.
I can live with that. I could walk away with my head held high if I went into one of the rooms and they try to sign me to some terrible deal and
Yeah.
force me into it, like bully basically me into it, and that's all. I'll walk away with my head held high, even if it
Yeah.
doesn't work out for me after that. I don't care. That doesn't move me. I'm doing this my way. Like
Yeah.
that's why I got into it, to do it differently, and people are gonna see the value in it, whether it's a label or whether it's me being independent and building my own fan base over time. Whichever comes first, that's what we're doing.
Building this area up in the process. And I always say, like, you look at other meccas of entertainment in our country, there's probably like 20 people on the streets doing street interviews, and each one of them is a business that's being monetized.
Yep.
Somebody would be outside the waterfront hall and just interviewing people, just random
100%.
questions. The Hawk Tuba girl just did a rug pull for how many millions and just left. And all she did was just because somebody had a lapel mic, was just like,
A YouTuber, and it went viral, and that's the magnitude of it. People are changing their lives through content.
yeah.
And I guarantee you that wasn't that guy's first post.
Right.
And I guarantee you that if he wasn't posting and being consistent and things like that, the algorithm wouldn't have pushed it
Yeah.
enough for it to go viral, right?
Yeah.
So people see that one post and they think, oh, they just like, not, dude. Like part of that, yeah, it was funny what she did, but part of it was the fact that this guy was posting consistently and was in an algorithm and like it went crazy.
And then you can even tell from the video, there's probably like 5 other guys with like waiting for more people. So
100%.
you're having these competing businesses, and if you know how to play the algorithm, you're not even really competing locally with these businesses. You're just competing for the
Globally.
was it CRM, like the amount of view, however many. What's the CRM? It's like they pay you for however many. Like it's like you're paid per million views or something like that.
Right.
So they're using the algorithm, getting sponsorships from all these statistics outside of a concert hall where the musician inside who doesn't know how to market himself might be playing for the door, and that's it.
Yep.
But if they knew how to use the number of views they were getting, I mean,
That's what it boils down to. It's a different game now. It's evolving, and you just gotta continue to educate yourself if you want to have any progress with it, right? If you want to get left behind, then just keep doing the same old thing. But if you want to keep up with the times, you gotta adapt. And the way you do it is you gotta put the work in to teach yourself or learn or go to someone that can teach you. And with those people, you're probably gonna have to pay them.
Yeah.
Like it might not be a bunch of money, but you have to invest some money into this, man. You gotta put some money into like your knowledge. Like you gotta think like you're enriching your brain. How much are you willing to spend on your own brain?
Yeah.
Yeah,
really.
You get what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not rich by any means, so like I get it. Like it's hard to juggle this path if you aren't wealthy or have an investor or resort to the streets to make your money. Well, a lot of the people do a lot of different things, but like if you don't have a large sum, it's not a reason or excuse to like not do anything.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out how can you be effective with what you have until it can generate more. Because it will if you stay on it,
I mean, for somebody like starting out and listening to us, I mean, you could go on MacBiz. You could find a pack of mics for $3, and you can start doing whatever kind of content you wanted. And
anything, I use for the videos I shoot, I use my iPhone, which I mean under $100 a month for just my phone, part of the bill. So it's less than $100. I have a little like GoPro type of stick.
Yeah.
Got one of those. That was $10 from Walmart. And then I got one of like the little like camera stands from
Yeah.
Walmart. That was like $30. And I've made probably 10, 12 times that in like the first month of shooting videos.
Yeah.
And the app that I use is a $10.99 a month app.
Yeah, we probably have the same one. I saw some of the templates you use. I'm like, I know his secrets. I got the same
That's
one.
it.
Yeah.
It's it, man.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It doesn't cost a bunch of money to be effective. The more
Right.
money you have to invest, the better. But for me, I had to realize like, okay, just because I can't spend $5,000 to $10,000 on my music career a month yet.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I can't be effective
Right.
until I grow to that.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But people don't have patience and don't like the process anymore. People want to skip the process now, man. Instant gratification.
Yeah. That's
Microwave era. Matter of fact, air fryer era.
Air fryer.
We're past the microwave era. We're at the air fryer era. Like, it's a whole different era, man. It's got to be quick and good.
somebody took a convection oven and said, "We'll put air fryer on the name and
Come on, man.
and change something that's already been invented."
Come on, man. And sell millions of them.
I know.
Sell millions of them.
I was talking to my brother about that. I'm like, somebody took a Blackstone. They just took a huge griddle and just named it something different. I mean, that's all it takes.
That's it.
Convection oven. They just named it an air fryer, and it was still is like the biggest thing in cooking.
But it took somebody saying, that's an idea.
Yeah.
And then doing it and investing money into it.
Yeah.
The idea.
Yeah.
And then eventually other people was like, ooh, that's cool. We want to invest some money in this.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's the same process in every industry when it comes to building a business.
Yeah.
Certain variables might be different, but the overall process kind of looks the same.
And then with the way social media is running, it's like advertisement for all these businesses kind of all coming together into just the one format you want to get views and get eyes.
Well, you got to think of it this way, like live TV, right? How many people are watching live TV anymore? Most of the time, people are watching apps, different things like that. They're playing the football games on Netflix and Amazon now,
Yeah.
right? Like exclusively,
Right.
not like adding them into it, like exclusively, right?
Yeah.
So you're seeing all of the different events and things like that were pushing their ads and stuff for commercials. Now that where they're taking it to social media, because it's way more effective. You got just way more people, especially that are consumers, right? Because you got the baby boomers and the older generation. They might still be watching their TV shows and stuff, but the vast majority of people aren't watching very much cable TV anymore.
And like using that for your business, you can see the results immediately. As like say like if we were realtors and bought bench space, who knows? We might get some customers out of this like in a couple of weeks, but when you're doing it through the social media, you can see it usually takes about an hour or something for an updated one, but you can see exactly how many people are watching it, what you need to do different, or should you put some money into it if it's not going exactly what you want. And
technology, is scary to a lot of people, and I will say that there are ways that it's like, all right, this is getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
But one, to those people that feel that way, if you think we aren't already there, like if you think our government isn't 60 years ahead of us technology wise, like you got Operation Northwood, I think it was called 1960.
Yeah.
They had commercial size airline drones
yeah.
in the 60s. We didn't start seeing or hearing about drones until like the 2010s, late 2000s.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine like when they started getting the commercial drones out to the public, what did they have in their back pocket when they did that? I couldn't imagine.
Come on, man.
I couldn't imagine it.
Man, does it look like orbs? Does it look like all these? I'm not saying it was an alien, but I'm not saying it was, because we don't know what our government got. It might look unfathomable to what our knowledge can conceive,
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't putting it past none of these people, crazy people. I don't know what that was, and neither does anybody else. Let's wait and find out.
I was listening to a podcast with Rogan. He every like 3 months he has this I'll have to look up his name, but it's a Jack, and he used to be in the CIA. And he was they were talking about drones, and Jack was going, listen, he said, when you're talking drones, we're talking mother drones. He said, we have a giant drone that releases thousands of drones that are all like synced, and he's like, they'll go back to the mother drone and go to another. And I had like a crisis. I'm like what is going on? Like,
yeah, like that's what, like, dude, do y'all think that our government is gonna let the playing field be level with the citizens and what access we have to certain technology?
Yeah.
You got to be out of your mind.
What was it, 60s or 70s? They were trying to use their mind to explode goats. What other trials have been going on since
Come on, man. And they haven't stopped since then.
No.
You know they haven't. How many times have they said on paper and in policy that they're going to stop something, and they come to find out that they never stopped it? It's happened. Like, it's not just happened once now. There's been multiple times that our government has been caught doing that.
Yeah.
Right? So what makes you think that they stopped any of this type of crazy stuff that they get into trying to do? Because a lot of it isn't necessarily even just, in my opinion, like egregious. Like I think it's also in a sense of having the best technology because they don't want to let somebody else, another country, have a leg up. But man, if people think that what we see is what we got, yeah, all right, man. Like, no, I'm scared to know what they have at this point. Honestly, I'm afraid to know what.
Because you have TV shows like Black Mirror that comes out, and then like you see like, oh, most of the stuff is already kind of like in development or kind of like in.
And that's the worst part, right, about Hollywood and movies, and people don't know the connection with that and the CIA. Like they will desensitize us, through this stuff, to the point where we'll almost be like, oh yeah, right, that's some movie stuff. Like people, you ever heard some? Oh, that only happens in movies and stuff like that, man. They don't even, That's kind of how they want us to, like, you know, look at these things like these wild, far-fetched ideas. But it's like, man, you don't know. I'm not gonna say it's a definite, but I can't say it's definitely not. Yeah, that's my thing. I don't know. I really don't care, honestly, because what am I going to do if it's an alien? I'm going to fight an alien? I can't do nothing about aliens. What I'm going to do? Like, that's beyond
like signs
me.
that weak to water, then I'm good.
Yeah. Like, that's beyond me. I can't do nothing about it. I tell you what, people keep sitting here being fascinated by these aliens and thinking that, oh my gosh, yeah, with the aliens, they're going to end up like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
Yeah.
And people were on top of that building like,
Billy welcoming them in.
They ready to celebrate the aliens. Aliens opened up that thing. Boom. Like, I
had signs, welcome to NY and all that stuff, man. Like, that scene.
That's what all movies about. I love that.
Yeah, because they're not. If we do find, they're not coming down like ET. If they have that technology, they're coming down and taking over.
Yeah, they coming down. Yeah, ain't nothing we can do about it.
Yeah,
like literally. So if that's the case, then that'll be what it'll be. Until then, I'm gonna live my life as if I don't have to worry about aliens.
Yeah,
that's what I'm at.
Like we were talking about earlier about how everybody is trying to take each other's heads off about politics. Like in my mind, the more I would argue and fight for whatever side I would want to be on, the more I'm just being recorded, and everybody. Because I try to tell people that, like, you know, there's other countries where, like, say if you're a big proponent of the right or the left, or whatever, if the other side gets elected, they might have you on a head block outside. I mean,
See, that's the thing too, right? We jump to extremism in America. Especially when it comes to the fear mongering on both sides.
Yeah.
Right. But like, there's some countries where it's really like that. Like we claim it's that bad in a lot of ways when it's really not in that aspect. But there's really some countries that, if a certain regime gets into power.
Yeah. And we're not even that far out of it. We're just a couple generations from of this country. So it's not like it's just a foreign, unreachable thing. You know, it could happen. And
but I think that's just the state of where people are. There's a growing number of people who are anxious. There's a growing number of
Yes.
people who are depressed. There's a growing number of people who are stressed through the roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's then affecting the overall health of our country,
Yeah.
right? And then then it trickles down to a lot of these different places, and I just, for me, I just want people to like remain calm, like calm down, like analyze these things. There's nothing wrong with feeling a certain way about something.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how you go about those feelings, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm like worried about. Like people are like cutting off family members. They're like getting fired from work for having like spouts and saying
Mm-hmm.
like we're at a place where people, and I get it, but at the same time it gets a little far. It's going too far with the whole like cancer. Like people will like go and search somebody and their info, and hundreds of thousands of people will like call places.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to like get them
Yeah.
fired. And some
Or
people,
review bomb
like some
somebody. Yeah.
people, I do understand because they really be like egging it on like they're big and bad. But
Yeah.
like some people, like that, like it's not. I don't think it's as necessary as much as we resort to that. I'm not saying it's not called for in certain situations,
Yeah.
but it's like now that's the first reaction
Mm-hmm.
instead of the last resort, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I wish that people would realize we're more alike, or we relate on more levels than we don't.
Yeah.
In this country, particularly. And they want us to focus on the divisive differences,
Yeah.
but like the similarities are what bring us together. We all want, good jobs,
Yeah.
good opportunity. We all want our families to be safe. We all want to live in safe places. Like we all want the same general stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the
I think some people too, I think are just itching for like a fight.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like in this area, if you're picking up the fight to argue about national politics, I mean, there's enough corruption in this area where if you wanted to get into a fight, you can uncover some stuff. I mean, why are we?
it's everywhere.
It
Easily. That's that story everywhere. Wherever there's money, there's
Yeah.
corruption.
Yeah.
Man, that it's never gonna change. It's been that way throughout the history of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
At every level, there was corruption at the highest of wealth and rule.
Look
in
at 2
different
generations
places.
ago in Wheeling, it was mob run. Steve Novotny from the Watchdog Radio does the interview shows. He has a good series, Children of what is it? Children of like the Wheeling's mob era, and he
yeah.
goes through like all the different places in Wheeling that they used to meet up, and like it was crazy the organized crime in here, and
A lot of history.
yeah,
A lot of history with that. And it's a lot more widespread than people think. And it's what people don't understand is like newsflash, people. Evil exists, and it's not going anywhere.
yeah,
Like it's not. How much destruction and chaos that evil can inflict is dependent upon the people that are against them and working against them to counteract that. But you can't eradicate or get rid of ideology like racism. You'll never get rid of racism.
Yeah.
It's an ideology. It's not something that tangibly you could just like rip up and shred up and throw away. Because it's just learned behavior. We're creatures of learned behavior as humans. In my sociology class, my professor, Mr. Darbo, man, African professor, man, he used to be on me hard body, but man, it's because he cared. And I was one of the few black students he had. And he wouldn't let me take it easy in that class. He pushed me, but that was one of the things he taught. Perspective, man. Like people, they grow up around these things. We have a conscious. We don't have instinct like animals. We can decide and choose to go against those instincts. We have a conscious.
yeah.
So I just think that, people don't understand that there's going to be people who choose evil.
Yeah, no matter what,
and wrong. That,
They're
that's
just
just what
wired
it
that
is.
way, and
It's what it is. We can't panic. You can't like be afraid and in fear. You gotta be calm, collected, and you gotta make strategic moves to
can't let it
combat
affect
it.
growth.
That's
Yeah,
it.
your own growth. Yeah.
That's it. Buckle down. Be strategic. Band together.
Yeah.
That's how you defeat it. Like, but who am I? You know.
Well, Isaiah, I want to thank you for coming in again.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you having
I
me.
think
again,
for everybody like listening on social media, this would be a breath of fresh air at the times that we're in right now. And yeah, like it's great info for artists if they want to get into it. It's so easy, and you can make do with the gear that you can find. I mean, you can. It's
absolutely,
it's out there, and the thing is, it's like even though like this valley is like behind in different areas. I mean, if you wanted to get into the circles of entertainers in it, all you would have to do is kind of message and be like, hey, check out the song. That's all. That's it.
That's it.
That is it.
It's fairly simple. You know, either you're gonna do it or you're not.
Yeah. There's a rapper that hits every karaoke show. I don't know if you met him, C Nasty, but he messaged me on Facebook. He's like, check out this song. He's like, this is my first time we ever produced a song. Check us out. I'm like, you know, if you can get this like down, come in, promote it, and that's literally all you have to do.
That's it. That's it. Put yourself out there and to go after it.
Yeah. And just by being around that circle, you can kind of get that mentoring that
you're gonna learn,
you need from somebody, and like the warnings that we were talking about earlier, just to like look out for and what
for sure.
But we have a lot of collaboration in front of us.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have a like a schedule for Dropbox dropping? Or you kind of like, or do you plan like monthly or?
I'm feeling it out there.
Yeah.
It honest to God, that was an idea that just like popped up out of nowhere.
That's the best
a
kind.
week and a half ago.
That's the best kind.
And I just ran with it. And, so it will be popping up more often. I'm gonna sprinkle some other artists that I work closely with into there and allow them to do it. I'm not really gonna open it up to everybody yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, more of that's gonna be coming. My first official release, single, whatever you want to call it. There, Good Love is what it's called.
Good Love.
It's a Anita Baker sample. And that's really impactful for me because that was my mom's favorite.
I think we talked about her last time you were on here.
I was looking for a beat like with an Anita Baker sample since I've started music. I haven't found one that was like that hit right. This one I think it's gonna be right in time for Valentine's Day, for the couples, for that vibe, man. Like we need love back in music more.
Yeah,
like for real. Like we do. And so if you want that, you're gonna love this song.
Check it out, everybody. Thank you for coming in.